Hello and welcome to the Telegraph Studios, where today we're talking about the challenges set by new technology. I'm joined by Keith Tilley, Executive Vice President of Global Sales and Customer Services at Sungard Availability Services. Keith, is new technology making the life easier or more of a challenge for companies today?
Well, I think the challenge for companies today is actually to use the new technology and the speed at which it changes as a weapon to drive their business further forward. Because I think it's a case of it can really help drive business outcomes to increase that customer penetration and also keep you at the forefront of your competitive advantage over the other people that are driving into your marketplace.
Weapon's an interesting word. I mean, quite an aggressive word. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, well, I suppose I use it because it's a battle out there for hearts and minds of our customers. You know, there's always a competitor. So therefore, you need to use the IT because I think IT can give you advantages. It doesn't matter what business you're in. I can think of some of our customers, Sainsbury's, a retailer, and IT has changed that business over the years, whereas in previous years you would have kind of like the stock room out the back and then you stock the shelves off of there. You don't do that anymore. If you go into any of the stores, Sainsbury's or any of its competitors, you'll see it's all about the store, more floor space to be able to sell to customers. You can only use IT to help drive that because now everything's delivered off straight into the lorry, straight onto the shelves. And also they use things like big data to be able to analyse the weather, which items do I need to put in which stores at this moment in time. So I think that's the way that they can drive the business further forward to give them a competitive advantage. And as I say, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you can use IT to help drive that.
And when it comes to the cloud, public, private or hybrid, where do you advise companies to store their data?
Well, our advice to companies is really to look at the business outcomes they're trying to drive. I mean, cloud is just a technology in order to be able to deliver solutions to you. And some companies still have their legacy IT. Some companies never had any legacy IT. They're very new companies. They're using IT as an immediate advantage to drive the business that they're trying to do. And I think what we try and do at Sungard Availability Services is talk to customers, what's the business outcomes they want, and then listen to where they need that data to be secured. And then work with them and say, okay, the best advantage for you is to use an environment that's private or public or continue to use your legacy system. And the most important thing is how you connect that all together and make sure you continue to make sure it's available and resilient to your customer needs.
You mentioned legacy IT there. Is that a big problem in the UK?
In some cases, it's not a problem, all right? In fact, let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, there are some new companies here who have no legacy IT. They're new companies that have used IT almost, as I say, as a weapon right at the front. They're using that to drive their business from day one and wouldn't exist without the capabilities that the IT is allowed to do. For the more traditional companies, they've invested a lot in legacy IT. And some of those legacy ITs are very valuable to them. They help drive the business, they're very cost effective, and they can continue to be used. In others, maybe there is some requirement to take some of that legacy IT and move it across. That's where I think the true hybrid IT comes in. I don't think hybrid IT is just about different clouds. I think it's taking that complete IT environment and mastering that. And the CIO needs to take control of that. Because one of the things, the new challenges that they face is that because that IT is so easily available, different departments have started to use IT. It needs to come back under the CIO in order to be able to drive the business further forward.
We're always told that today's modern customer is very difficult to deal with. And what kind of challenges does that present?
Well, I think it goes back to some I used before, which is it's a battleground out there for customers. Although we deal with B2B, they're obviously dealing with the consumer. And we as consumers, you and I, in a way become very promiscuous. We're using IT to actually allow us to select where we want to go. So therefore, if we get a good experience, we'll stick with it. If we get a bad experience, then we'll tend to move elsewhere, and we can do that. You know, I can now do my banking through my phone. I can book airline tickets. And more importantly, you know, there's lots of competition out there. So if I'm booking an airline ticket with somebody and their website isn't there, I just move to somebody else because I want it now. I'm instant gratification from that perspective. So what IT allows you to do is make sure that you're right at the front there. You need to make sure it's available, you need to make sure it's resilient in order to be there all the while. But if you do that, then your customers will stick with you because that experience is the one that they want and they want to continue to have that.
But you've got to be quick to react, haven't you? That's essential.
Oh, absolutely. You need to be quick to react to competition, but also to react to what the customer needs. So again, Monarch is one of our customers. You know, they obviously have peaks and troughs. they can use us to be able to flex around the requirements they need in order to be able to deliver that environment to their customers, because they need to be able to deliver that response whether there's 200 people trying to book a ticket today or 400 people or 500 people, because that's the experience the customer is looking for.
So I sign up for Sungard Availability Services. What would my customer journey be like?
Well, hopefully your customer journey starts ahead of you becoming an actual customer. And by that, what I mean is, if I go back to some of the answers I gave, is we need to talk to you about what you're trying to use your IT for, what business outcomes you're driving, what legacy IT you might have, what thoughts you have on the security, so that we can help you master that complex environment. We can help you look at the availability and resilience you need to drive into it, and how do we build the adaptability and flexibility for the future as well. Once we understand your business outcomes, then we can tailor a solution. I think that's very important as well. You know, some solutions are very much off the shelf and they don't always fit the requirements. Others can be very bespoke and they become very expensive. What we try to do is work with our customers to find out what they need and then tailor a solution to them. Then hopefully when they sign, they have a good onboarding experience because it matches their business outcomes they're trying to drive. And then I'd like to think we would partner with them, because IT never stands still, and that will mean that we will make sure that they drive further forward in a partnership to keep that competitive edge which they need. Otherwise, if they lose that, then they will very quickly sink behind their competition.
Keith Tilley, fascinating stuff. Many thanks.
Thanks, Dan.